Beneath the surface of the ocean lies a world that feels like it was never meant to be seen. A world where bodies glow. Where fish carry their own lanterns. Where some creatures look like glass, others like living nightmares, and some seem like they shouldn't exist at all. And the strangest part? We know almost nothing about it. We've sent machines to Mars. We've captured images of distant galaxies. We've walked on the moon. And yet vast parts of the ocean, right here on our own planet, remain almost completely unknown. We've managed to explore space better than what moves beneath our own feet. And the deeper we go, the less this world resembles the Earth we recognize. First, the light disappears. Then, familiar forms of life. And then, something else begins. Something that feels less like an ocean. And more like an alien planet. Today, we're going there. Below the surface. Below the light. Below the places where life is even supposed to exist. And the deeper we descend, the stranger everything becomes. Because the ocean's most unsettling secrets aren't near the shore. They're where the darkness begins. At the surface, the ocean feels familiar. Bright light. Waves. Fish. Corals. Whales. Everything follows rules we understand. Sunlight feeds plankton. Plankton feeds small fish. Small fish feed larger ones. Entire food chains build themselves on this system. It's a vibrant, noisy, energy-filled world. But descend below about 200 meters, and that picture begins to fall apart. The light fades. Colors drain away. The water grows colder, quieter, emptier. As if someone is slowly turning down the brightness of reality itself. This is where the Twilight Zone begins. A vast layer of ocean stretching down to about a kilometer deep. Some light still reaches here. But not enough for photosynthesis. Which means, almost no plants. No familiar, green energy. No sunlight-driven economy of life. And that raises a question. If there's almost no light, and almost no food, how does anything survive here? The answer is simple. And unsettling. From above, something is constantly falling. Scientists call it marine snow. It sounds beautiful. Almost poetic. But it's not. It's dead plankton. Fragments of bodies. Waste. A slow, endless drift of organic debris, falling from the upper layers of the ocean like a silent rain of death. To us, it's almost nothing. To the creatures of the Twilight Zone, it's everything. A meal. A delivery. Another chance to survive. And where there is food, even like this, there will be life. But not the kind we're used to. Because the creatures here look like they're competing in a contest for most bizarre form imaginable. And the competition is intense. Many of them are transparent. Not metaphorically. Literally. Their bodies resemble glass. A glass squid drifts through the water, its internal organs barely visible. A glass octopus looks almost like a ghost, its body nearly invisible, betrayed only by its eyes. And that alone is mesmerizing. But what's even more fascinating is this. Scientists still don't fully understand why so many deep-sea creatures become transparent. Maybe it's the perfect camouflage. In a world of dim light, a body you can't see is almost a superpower. Or maybe it's about conserving energy. Because down here, energy is everything. You can't waste it. You can't move recklessly. You can't live at the pace of the surface. Everything follows one rule. Use as little as possible. And survive as long as you can. But transparency isn't the only strategy. Some creatures chose the opposite path. If you can't disappear, you start to glow. And this is where the ocean truly begins to feel unreal. Many deep-sea animals produce their own light. It's called bioluminescence. And while it looks almost magical, it usually serves a very practical purpose. To hunt. To hide. To find a mate. To stay alive. For some, light is bait. For others, a signal. For others still, a deception. Or a last line of defense. Some creatures light up their undersides to match the faint light coming from above. It's called counterillumination. A brilliant trick. A predator looks up. And instead of seeing a silhouette, sees nothing. The animal erases itself from view. And in moments like this, you start to understand just how far evolution can go. Given millions of years, constant danger, and endless darkness. There are even stranger adaptations. Take the so-called bloody belly comb jelly. It appears red. But red light doesn't reach these depths. Which means, in the twilight zone, red becomes almost black. The creature has effectively chosen the most visible color. And turned it into perfect camouflage. Elegant. Clever. And just a little unsettling. Because in the deep ocean, light isn't just light. It's a language. A weapon. A shield. A lure. A lie. At the surface, life is built around the sun. Here, it's built around its absence. But the twilight zone isn't just strange in appearance. Every night, something happens here on a scale so vast that most migrations on land seem small by comparison. Billions of creatures rise toward the surface under the cover of darkness. To feed. And when daylight returns, they descend again. Every single night. This is the largest migration on Earth. Not herds of antelope. Not flocks of birds. Not even whales. But countless small, strange organisms that most people will never see. And for a long time, we didn't even know it was happening. During World War II, sonar operators noticed something strange. Their instruments detected what looked like the ocean floor. Rising and falling. As if the seabed itself had decided to move. But it wasn't the bottom. It was life. An entire layer of living organisms, moving up and down every day. A mass so vast it could be mistaken for the boundary of the ocean itself. And it's a good reminder. We live on a planet where massive biological processes were happening right under our noses. And we just thought, weird signal. But beyond the twilight zone, it gets darker. Much darker. Below 1 kilometer, the midnight zone begins. Here, there is no light at all. Not faint. Not scattered. Not almost. Nothing. Complete darkness. The temperature hovers near freezing. The pressure becomes crushing, hundreds of times greater than at the surface. Every square centimeter of your body would be compressed by forces almost impossible to imagine. And yet, life doesn't just endure. It adapts. It invents. It becomes even more extreme. Creatures here look like they were designed by something that deeply dislikes biology, and has a love for nightmares. Take the dragonfish. Even the name sounds like bad news. Some species can produce red light, which is almost unheard of in the deep ocean. Most creatures down here can't see red light. So the dragonfish has a secret flashlight. It can see its prey. But its prey can't see the light. A built-in night vision system. Inside a living creature. Once again, the ocean proves that evolution is an engineer with a very strange imagination. Other fish take a different approach. They're covered in ultra-black skin that absorbs almost all incoming light. So effectively that their bodies lose shape. Contours vanish. Edges dissolve. What remains isn't an animal, but a void. A gap in space. As if a piece of the ocean has simply been cut out. And then, of course, There are the anglerfish. Some of the most famous, and absurd, creatures of the deep. Their glowing lure is already the stuff of nightmares. But their reproduction is even stranger. In some species, the male finds a female, bites onto her, and never lets go. Over time, he fuses with her body. His organs degenerate. He becomes little more than a biological attachment, existing for a single purpose. Even romance, down here, feels like something out of scientific horror. And through it all, life is careful. Because food is scarce. A successful hunt is rare. Mistakes are costly. Some creatures feed on what falls from above. Others wait in ambush. Some can go months without eating. And sometimes, something enormous arrives. A whale carcass. A whale fall. For the deep-sea ecosystem, it's almost a catastrophe, in the best possible way. A massive body sinks to the seafloor, and becomes the center of a feast that can last years. First come the large scavengers. Then smaller ones. Then bacteria. Then entire communities of organisms that can survive around this single food source for decades. One dead whale can support an entire ecosystem. In the deep ocean, even death isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of another. And the deeper we go, the more the ocean becomes a place of extremes. Below lies the abyssal plain. Vast stretches of sediment. An almost endless, flat desert. No trees. No reefs. No familiar landmarks. Just cold. Darkness. And space. If you saw these landscapes without context, you might think you were looking at the surface of a dead planet. And yet, life is here too. Sometimes, surprisingly large life. Giant isopods. Massive amphipods. Colossal squid. Creatures that resemble familiar forms. Scaled up to an unsettling size. Which raises another question. Why do some deep-sea animals become so large? The honest answer is, we don't fully know. There are theories. Cold temperatures. Slow metabolism. Pressure. Scarcity of resources. But no single, complete explanation. And that might be one of the most honest, and beautiful, things about the deep ocean. The deeper we go, the more often science says not, here's the answer. But we're still trying to understand. That's not a weakness. It's a reminder of how little we truly know. Life here moves slowly. Very slowly. Some creatures grow over years. Some live for decades. Some, possibly centuries. No rush. No sunlight. No witnesses. As if time itself moves differently in the deep. But even this isn't the limit. Because beyond lies the Hadal Zone. Deeper than 6,000 meters. A world of ocean trenches. The deepest fractures on the planet. Places where the pressure is so extreme that any familiar idea of life should collapse under it. And yet, even here, life exists. Snailfish. Delicate, almost fragile-looking creatures. And yet, they are the deepest living vertebrates we know. Once again, the ocean breaks our expectations. We assume extreme environments require armored, aggressive, monstrous forms. But the ocean sometimes responds. No. Here's a soft, translucent fish. And it thrives. But perhaps the most unsettling part of this story isn't the pressure. Or the darkness. Or the creatures. It's this. Even here. We've left a mark. Plastic has been found in the deepest parts of the ocean. Places no human has ever set foot. Places untouched by sunlight. Places where life evolved for millions of years on its own terms. And still, we reached it. Not in person, but through our waste. It's a very human detail. We haven't fully explored this world. But we've already left traces behind. And yet, the deep ocean isn't just a story of darkness and pressure. It's also a story of possibility. Because there are places here where life exists without sunlight at all. Around hydrothermal vents. Superheated, chemical-rich fluids erupt from cracks in the seafloor. It should be uninhabitable. And yet, entire ecosystems form around them. Here, life is built not on photosynthesis, but on chemosynthesis. Energy drawn not from light, but from chemical reactions. And in that moment, the deep ocean becomes something more than just an ocean. It becomes a model for a much bigger question. If life can exist here, without sunlight, under crushing pressure, in extreme chemical environments, then where else could it exist? Beneath the ice of distant moons. Europa. Enceladus. Worlds that may hide oceans beneath frozen shells. Dark. Deep. And maybe not so lifeless. Which means that by studying the strangest creatures on our own planet, we might also be learning how to find life beyond it. Not a bad twist. For a story that started with, look, a transparent squid. And still, despite all our technology, maps, and expeditions, we know frighteningly little. In the deep ocean, there are still more questions than answers. Why do some creatures become giants, while others nearly vanish? Why do so many glow? What forms of life have we not yet seen? How many ecosystems exist in places we've never reached? How many species have we already lost without ever knowing they existed? And here's what lingers the most. The deep ocean doesn't feel empty. It feels hidden. As if an entire world has been living beside us all along. Just behind an opaque door. Sometimes, the door opens a little. We glimpse something. A strange fish. A glowing organ. An unfamiliar shape. An unexplained behavior. And then it closes again. Leaving us with even more questions. Maybe that's what makes the ocean so captivating. Not just its strangeness. Not just its beauty. Not just its danger. But the fact that it's still a mystery. A real one. Not manufactured. Not exaggerated. A vast, ancient, cold mystery. Existing right here, on our planet. And maybe that's exactly why it matters so much to protect it. Because you can't truly value only what you fully understand. Sometimes, what matters most is what remains unknown. What forces us to ask questions. What reminds us that we are not masters of everything. We are still explorers. Still beginners. Even on our own world. And somewhere, beneath kilometers of black water. Right now, creatures we've never seen are drifting. Hunting. Glowing. Hiding. Surviving. Living by the rules of a world we are only beginning to understand. And maybe the next great mystery of Earth isn't in the sky, but below. In the dark. Where the ocean still holds on to what it's not ready to reveal.